It was April 29th, 1945. The city of Berlin was collapsing under the relentless assault of the Soviet Red Army. Adolf Hitler, the dictator of Nazi Germany, had taken refuge in the Führerbunker, a heavily fortified underground bunker located beneath the garden of the Reich Chancellery. Above ground, Soviet artillery shells and machine gun fire thundered as Soviet troops advanced through the city's heart. That evening, inside the bunker, as Germany's defeat was inevitable, Adolf Hitler married his longtime companion, Eva Braun. The brief civil ceremony took place in a small room with only a few trusted individuals in attendance, including Joseph Goebbels, Magda Goebbels, Hitler's personal secretary, Martin Bormann, and several other close aides. After the ceremony, a modest wedding breakfast was held, during which Hitler appeared pale, physically frail, and mentally exhausted. Following the wedding, Hitler summoned his secretary Traudl Junge and dictated his last political will and personal testament. In it, he dismissed Hermann Göring and Heinrich Himmler from all positions of power for what he considered acts of treason, reaffirmed his hatred of Jews, and expressed his belief that Germany had been betrayed by its own military leaders. He also declared Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz as his successor. As dawn approached on April 30th, 1945, the situation outside the bunker grew even more desperate. Soviet forces had captured the Reichstag and were closing in on the Reich Chancellery. The sound of explosions and gunfire rattled the walls of the underground shelter. Inside the bunker, morale was at its lowest, and almost everyone knew the end was near. In the early afternoon, Hitler had his final meal, a simple vegetarian dish, in the company of his secretaries and Eva Braun. At around 3:30 p.m., Hitler, accompanied by Eva, retreated to his private study. He instructed his personal aides to leave them alone, stating that they would take their own lives. Shortly afterward, a single gunshot rang out from Hitler's room. When Hitler's valet, Heinz Linge, and Hitler's SS adjutant, Otto Günschow, entered the room, they discovered Adolf Hitler slumped on a sofa, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his right temple. Eva Braun lay beside him, lifeless, having ingested a cyanide capsule. Following Hitler's explicit instructions, their bodies were carried up to the garden behind the Reich Chancellery. There, Hitler's remains, along with Eva Braun's, were doused in petrol and set on fire by Günschow and Linge, while heavy Soviet shelling continued around them. The bodies were burned beyond recognition, leaving only partial remains. Later that evening, Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister and Hitler's most loyal follower, killed his 6 young children by administering them poison. Then, he and his wife Magda Goebbels committed suicide in the garden of the Reich Chancellery. Over the next several hours, many remaining officials and soldiers in the bunker either fled, surrendered, or took their own lives. On May 2, 1945, Soviet troops captured the remains of the Reich Chancellery and the Führerbunker. The Soviets recovered fragments of Hitler's jawbone and dental remains, which were later positively identified by his personal dentist's assistant and dental technician. To this day, no complete body was ever recovered. The Soviet Union kept the remains in secret until declassified documents in the 1990s confirmed their findings through forensic and dental evidence.